What's up, everyone? Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Incline Dodgers podcast. Who's with me and is going to wake up at 3 a.m. to catch those opening game series in Tokyo with your reigning World Series champion, Los Angeles Dodgers, taking on the Chicago Cubs? I can't promise that I'll be awake for those exhibition games, but we finally got a good idea of who is starting those games for the Los Angeles Dodgers and in what order. Plus, we've got a hint of who's going to start the opening home domestic game against the Detroit Tigers at Dodger Stadium. After the Dodgers have a little bit of a sandwich, they got the Angels for some games that don't count. Then they play the Tigers, and those games do count. And the season truly does go underway. It's Kevin Klein here. Appreciate everyone tuning in. We've got BC History Man, Kenny Chung in the house. I'm sure more people will roll in. Smash that like button. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please do so. We're going to answer any questions you guys have for tonight's show and cover all the latest Dodgers news. We were expected to be joined by someone that is still to be determined. So in the meantime, the show must go on. Kevin Klein talking solo for a little bit. Jake Ryder's moving, so he's unavailable. And like I just said, we're waiting on someone else, but that remains to be seen. The Incline Dodgers podcast is presented by Tick Pick and Fansided. Appreciate everyone tuning in. So let's get into it. We actually had a number of big stories today on March 10th, as we are just a week and a little bit of change away from 2025 baseball that actually counts with your Los Angeles Dodgers. And one of the big storylines that we've been talking about literally since day one of the offseason finally took place. That's the Dodgers and Dave Roberts coming to an agreement on a brand new extension. We've got the terms of the agreement. So from 2026, when it kicks in, through 2029, a 4-year extension. $32.4 million is what Dave Roberts will be paid over that duration of 4 years. That's an average annual salary of $8.1 million. And you know what that means with that 0.1? It surpasses Cubs manager Craig Counsell for the highest paid manager in Major League Baseball. We locked it in day one. We said there was no doubt about it that the Dodgers were going to make Dave Roberts the highest paid manager in Major League Baseball because he rightfully should be. I mean, of everyone that's active in the game right now, who has a more impressive resume than Dave Roberts? 851 wins, 507 losses. That's a 627, 62.7 win percentage. That's best amongst active managers, the most successful by percentage in Dodgers history. Walter Alston has the most games won. He's won over 2,000 games. I don't know if Dave Roberts will ever get to that milestone, but all great managers, Dave Roberts will have that jersey retired when it's all said and done. He helped lead the Dodgers to 2 World Series championships. On top of that, they also had 2 more World Series appearances in 2017, where they clearly were the better team and should have won if it was at level playing field. And of course, 2018. We've been harsh on Dave Roberts in the past. We've called for his head countless times, and at times felt like we were right. Other times, maybe we were being too emotional and overreactive. But at the end of the day, in 2024, what the Dodgers and Dave Roberts were able to accomplish, Roberts obviously earned this extension. No complaints by me. I also like that it's just a 4-year extension. Nothing too crazy where it's a 10-year total long committed coaching contract, because sometimes teams throw that out there and it doesn't always tend to work out in the back end. So it gives both sides flexibility. If the Dodgers or Dave Roberts feel like they want to go a different direction after 2029, there's a little bit of leeway there. But I think at this point, Dave Roberts kind of has earned his throne and maybe a Dodger for lifer if he chooses to be it. This isn't to discredit the Guggenheims or Friedman by any chance. They are still the biggest staple of this whole Dodgers success. So, of course, every day, thankful to the Guggenheims on my knees for the success that they brought the Dodgers, their willingness to shell out big financial contracts and investments and invest in a winning team year after year. And of course, the genius that is Andrew Friedman, who continues to fleece teams when we least expect it with some of the most under the radar moves and some of the most sneaky pickups. And so, thank you, Andrew Friedman, who was the one that hired Dave Roberts for the beginning of the 2016 season. And in year one, Dave Roberts got the Dodgers to the NLCS. They lost to the Cubs. Year two, they're in the World Series. And we know how the rest played out. We've got Craig Osterberg and Daniel Berry sports highlights here. Thank you both for showing up. Appreciate you guys tuning in to the live stream. So Dave Roberts gets that extension. Well deserved. Happy for the guy. The biggest thing that we can always give Dave Roberts credit for is that clubhouse culture he brings. It's hard to find another manager that's currently in the game right now that does a better job of managing multiple personalities better than what Dave Roberts does. You put a collection of superstars in one room, and Dave Roberts seems to find a way to get them to all gel together. And so you got to love the tenacity. And it's just a different Dave Roberts going into the 2025 season. You feel like a massive weight's been lifted off his shoulders. The pressure is certainly still in existence, but it's not the same pressure in the last few years where there was high expectations, that hunger to win the parade, and just the large collection of win totals. In 2022, Dave Roberts and the Dodgers had 111 wins on their belt, and they got knocked out by the San Diego Padres. The following year, 100 wins, they get knocked out by the Arizona Diamondbacks. They battled tooth and nail with the San Francisco Giants. The Giants win 107 games. The Dodgers win 106 games. Dodgers take out the Giants in the NLDS. But then the Atlanta Braves capitalize on the Dodgers' fatigue and injuries, and the Atlanta Braves take out the Dodgers in 2021. But 2024 was the Dodgers' year, and I don't want to hear it from some dumbass Yankees fans out there claiming that 2024 should have been their year. I'm starting to see that take thrown around, and you got to have your head in the sand if you think 2024 was the Yankees season by any means. 2024 was always the Dodgers' year. It was the Dodgers' year to lose, and the Dodgers were the better team. The Dodgers played better in every series, and the Dodgers did what they were supposed to do. Execution, great pitching. They had an abundance of injuries, overcame the adversity, and their star players showed up in the big moment. So everything went right at the right time for the Dodgers, and you got some iconic moments like the Freddie Freeman walk-off grand slam to forever be in our memories. What's up, Alfonso Lucio? Dodgers keeping everyone together, according to him. Absolutely. Let's jump into some Dodger news now. The Dodgers are continuing to pile up injuries despite the season actually not beginning yet. We got word yesterday that relief pitcher or swingman, however you want to define him, Michael Grove is heading to the IL, and he is expected to miss the entire 2025 season. He underwent shoulder surgery. Some things just weren't going right, and he wasn't able to get healthy. And if you dial it back to the NLDS against the San Diego Padres, the Dodgers had to remove Michael Grove off the NLDS roster. He didn't pitch again in that entire postseason stretch. We didn't see Michael Grove much or at all in Dodgers Camelback Ranch action. I don't think he clocked in for one single spring training appearance. We didn't really see much video clips of him throwing either. And it all kind of lines up now that Michael Grove, who was in a sling, had to undergo shoulder surgery. Big bummer for him. Like any athlete, he's a competitor. He wants to be out there. So you got to feel for him in that regard. But I've been seeing some people throwing out some kind of faulty news out there as if Michael Grove is some catastrophic loss for the Dodgers. this is kind of a harsh way to put it, but Michael Grove is more of a addition by subtraction at this point in his career. Throughout Michael Grove's entire Dodgers tenure thus far, he's been a negative asset. You want to go back to last season, had a negative .7 WAR, an ERA over 5 at 5.12. The Dodgers gave him a chance to pitch in Korea. He got absolutely bombed. He gave up 4 runs. That was the game where Yamamoto also lasted 1 inning and got bombed as well. They gave Michael Grove a chance to pitch in the postseason. He gave up runs against the Padres as well. Any situation that Michael Grove gets thrown into, the facts speak for themselves. He fails at just about everything. He's not a starting pitcher. He's not a high leverage reliever. And he's not even doing a really good job of eating multiple innings out of the bullpen either for the Dodgers. There's been some times where they just need him to wear it. He goes out there for an inning, clocks up 30 to 40 pitches, and then the Dodgers have to burn another arm because Michael Grove was incapable of just eating it or wearing it. Michael Grove is a -2 WAR player throughout his entire major league career. That dates back to 2022. Lifetime ERA of 5.48. So I don't want to hear it that Michael Grove had this ceiling or this potential, because we've yet to see it of Michael Grove really amounting to anything in Dodger blue. And I kind of understand now where the stars aligned, why the Dodgers probably had to DFA a guy like Ryan Brazier, because if the Dodgers attempted to trade Michael Grove, he was going to fail that physical instantly. And you can't defraud a team. You can't send them damaged goods, because clearly Michael Grove was damaged goods. He wasn't healthy at all this offseason. And the Dodgers had to do kind of the ethical thing and just wear it. Some teams are going to be jerks, and if a guy's injured, they're going to kick him to the curb and let him figure it out. But that's not how the Dodgers operate. What the Dodgers do is they look out for their guys, whether they're bad or good, of course. And even though Michael Grove's in that bad camp, they're going to at least give him that opportunity to rehab this next full year with the Dodgers, get his career back on track, and then they'll see where things are at for 2026. They either try to trade Michael Grove then if he can prove he's healthy, or Michael Grove turns into something. But at this point, it feels like it's a lot more of tooth fairy, wishful thinking, and Craig Osterberg mentioning should have had that shoulder surgery after the season ended. Not now. That's a very good point. Alfonso Lucio prefers Brock Stewart over Michael Grove. Brock Stewart has definitely reinvigorated himself as a relief pitcher. I don't know where he stands currently health-wise either. He might be injured as well, but definitely if someone can fact check that, more than happy to look into that. But yeah, Michael Grove won't be missed. You won't get to hear Michael Grove rants, unfortunately, this season. That's the best part about Michael Grove pitching for the Dodgers, is you get a pissed off Kevin Klein calling for his head, Mid-City Grove, as I have anointed him. So with Michael Grove going on the 60-day IL eventually, they'll make that announcement any day when they start to add guys to the 40-man roster, like a Roki Sasaki and other guys that maybe were on the cusp of being non-roster invites, and now the Dodgers want to give them a 40-man spot. I think this opens the door for a reunion with Brett Honeywell Jr. I'm honestly quite surprised that Brett Honeywell Jr. is still a free agent. He is a free agent as of this day. No team wanted to sign him even to a minor league contract. And I don't know if this is Brett Honeywell holding out for the Dodgers when a need was going to come, because the Dodgers already have a pretty big stockpile of injuries now. And I don't mind a guy like Brett Honeywell who knows his role. He's just going to wear it for the team. Last season for the Dodgers, he actually put together a very respectable campaign. I mean, look at the stats. He threw 18 games for the Dodgers, 34.1 innings. You do the math there, that's almost 2 innings an outing, 2.62 ERA over that stretch, a 1.107 whip, So Brett Honeywell put up some good numbers for the Dodgers. And we all know that he actually had kind of an important role for the Dodgers in the postseason. He was able to wear it many times and absorb those pitches to rest guys so they can essentially reset everything and then start fresh for the next game. And so I love a guy like Brett Honeywell for what he can do. I don't know if the Dodgers have thought about bringing him back. We're going to go through who I think the Dodgers bullpen options are going to ultimately be to start opening day at least. So I'll give 8 relievers that I think they're going to put in the bullpen in a little bit. But again, I want to call for anyone to drop your questions below in the chat. If you got questions, hit me up with your questions. Drop that like as well. And if you're a new listener, hit that subscribe button. One of the biggest storylines for the Dodgers, without a doubt, has been who's getting the last roster spot. Think about it. We kind of know who they are. I should say we kind of know who's making it, but it's actually been a way more open playing field than maybe we could have imagined. James Outman's been getting a lot of at bats. More on James Outman. Sung Kim's been getting plenty of at bats, but the Dodgers seem to have kind of moved him to a reserve role. Andy Pajes has seen a lot of at bats. Has Andy Pajes really impressed this spring? I don't know. And Craig, I'm going to get to your question in a second about, and this all ties together of who is the Dodgers' second baseman. So we got to look at the locks. We know Miguel Rojas is making it. We know Chris Taylor is making it. We know Kike Hernandez is making it. They're all veteran major leaguers. They're not going down to the minors. This isn't even a debate. It all sets up, and Austin Barnes is making it. It all sets up, though, for one spot. And I talked about it last week, and I've alluded to it multiple times. I think the Dodgers view Tommy Edman as their second baseman right now. Tommy Edman is such a nifty and elite defensive second baseman. You really maximize his value by putting Tommy Edman at second base. You really do, because Tommy Edman is a tremendous defender at the second base position. And yeah, he'll play a little bit of center field. That'll give guys like Miguel Rojas some occasional at-bats against lefties, more specifically. I'm sure Miguel Rojas will see some playing time. You'll see Chris Taylor get some at-bats. You'll see Kike Hernandez get some at-bats as well. But if I'm trying to think in the mindset right now of how the Dodgers are thinking, I think they've got their sights set on James Outman being the primary team's center fielder. This has been kind of one of those storylines that just continues to shift week to week, almost game by game, because like the stock market recently, it's just fluctuating like crazy. It's going up and down and up and down. And right now, James Outman is kind of the hot hand. He just had a home run the other day, a lefty against a lefty, an athletics reliever, hit a 3-run home run. He crushed it to right field. And then I think it was today, he had a triple. And James Outman's been roping in some extra base hits. Despite hitting 214, he actually has an OPS of 824, 1 home run, 6 RBIs. I can live with James Outman hitting below 220 if the OPS is somewhere in the vicinity of 750 to plus 800. I'm not asking for a whole lot from James Outman. The strikeouts are a little concerning. You don't want someone striking out half the time like BC points out and Kenny Chung's pointing out. You don't want someone that strikes out half the time. You want to have someone that can put the ball in play, even if they're ground outs, at least move the runners over, get those sack flies, productive at-bats, productive outs. But the way things are looking right now, to kind of capitalize and put a good defense out there, James Outman hovers in the range of being an average center fielder to slightly above average. And for a premier position like center field, you don't really want to mess around and put someone that's kind of lackadaisical and can't handle the ropes out there, which is what I think Andy Pajes has kind of flagged at this point. He just isn't really putting it together and looking like a competent center fielder. And James Outman right now, he's kind of setting himself up to be the opening center fielder with the Dodgers likely facing, well, for sure Imanaga, and then I imagine Justin Steele in back-to-back games. We might not see James Outman start in those two games because of the lefties, but he might come into the game later on with the platoon advantage if the Cubs do bring in some right-handed relievers. So wouldn't be surprised if we see Tommy Edman or Kike Hernandez. You could go either way. Tommy Edman could be in center field or second base. Kike Hernandez could be in center field or second base. But I think the way things are set up right now, James Outman, it's kind of his job to lose. Love that Hesung Kim is starting to turn it on more recently. He's raised his batting average to a 222 batting average, which isn't great, but it's no longer disgusting. The 323 on base percentage isn't that bad. 656 OPS isn't really that impressive either, but a home run, 3 RBIs. He scored 6 runs, and I think he stole two bases. I personally would like to see Kim just be inserted into the Dodgers lineup right away, but I think the Dodgers really do want to still develop this guy, and they're not going to rush him into things. And the Dodgers feel like to get Kim's confidence at a higher level, they'll slow play him in, start him in Oklahoma City, let him continue to retool and find his swing. And when the time calls for it, they'll call him up. There's just really no rush at this point, even though I would like to see Kim get those at bats right away. And then the last guy I mentioned with Andy Pajes, he's just not really doing anything that great. He's not playing good in center field. He continues to kind of misread routine fly balls. He either steps a little too far forward or a little too far back at the wrong time. And then the 584 OPS isn't great. He's hitting 192 and he's got 1 home run. And like I said, the defense isn't really that great right now in center field. And you look at the Dodgers outfield alignment, you're taking a big chance by rolling out 3 potential negative defenders out there. If you've got Conforto, Teoscar Hernandez, and Andy Pajes all as your outfielders. So I think the Dodgers want to get a little bit more stability in center field. And that's why I think naturally we might see James Outman get that center field job. Tommy Edman plays mostly second base. And Kike Hernandez, they're going to treat him like a utility player. I've seen some kind of bad takes, and I love Kike. Kike shows up in October. You use Kike in the right spot, but Kike Hernandez is not an everyday starter in the regular season, especially at this stage in his career. Down the stretch is a different story. If you need some clutchness in your lineup, other guys are struggling or in a slump, and you want to insert Kike in there. But Kike is traditionally a pretty slow starter himself. Last season with the Dodgers, he really did struggle in the first half. And is Kike Hernandez a guy you want in your lineup every day against right-handed pitching? The numbers don't say they do. He had a 79 WRC plus against right-handed pitching in the year 2024. Against lefties, Kike's WRC plus was more in the 90 range. That's better. But historically speaking, talking regular season, Kike is a platoon at bat. You don't want a lot of Kike versus right-handed pitching because Kike is not a big batting for average guy, not a big power bat. He's a guy that you play when you need him to. Give guys a day off. You play Kike every day, odds are you're going to wear him out. He'll be gassed by the time October rolls around, and he's going to probably need a surgery because it seems like when Kike plays too many games, he needs some type of hernia surgery or some other type of off-season repair. And like I was saying, it seems like Crash is on the same page. Enrique is a bench piece and a bullpen asset. Can't forget that Kike can pitch out of the bullpen if needed. So appreciate the added bonus right there. So the bench appears to be set. Barnes, Taylor, Rojas, Kike, center field. I'm guessing they give it to James Outman. I think the Dodgers want a left-handed bat in there. I don't think the Dodgers want all these right-handed bats. It would just kind of limit them with versatility. You've got Max Muncy, a left-handed bat. He'll be your third baseman. You've got Michael Conforto, left-handed bat. He'll be in left field. Freddie Freeman, first base, of course, left-handed, and Shohei Ohtani, a left-handed at bat. The Dodgers have a lot of righties these days. They really do. And I think James Outman, it's your lucky day because you just happen to hit left-handed. And so I know we talked about David Bodie, and maybe David Bodie will get his opportunity at some point in the regular season if there's an injury or something. But I don't think David Bodie is going to make the opening day roster at this point. The one thing I don't really know for certain, and I should have looked it up, is if the Dodgers roster gets to expand for the Tokyo series. I know that they get to bring taxi squad guys, and they already told James Outman he's coming to Japan no matter what. So that makes me think James Outman's going to be on the roster. That's where we currently stand. We got a question actually from Crash right now, so let's see what he's saying. What does this front office see in James Outman? Is there something that the fan base is missing? So kind of just to sum it all up to what I was just saying, James Outman over the last, especially the last week or so, has kind of found a little spark, hitting the ball better, getting some extra base hits, working the count a little bit more, needs to cut down on the strikeouts. Defensively, the Dodgers just like him because he's more stable out there in center field. He's someone that they can trust with that position. And I think it helps that he's a left-handed bat because the Dodgers just really don't have the depth right now with bench piece left-handed bats. So James Outman, it's your lucky day. I think it's just as simple as that. Let's move to some starting pitching now. The Dodgers starting pitching has just looked beautiful this entire spring, but especially over the last week stretch, going back to Roki Sasaki's bullpen appearance. Everybody has just been shining. Everyone looks ready. They're tooled up, mechanics and sound, nasty pitches. Yoshinobu Yamamoto looks ready for opening day. Was able to go 5 innings, which would have qualified for a win. Just gave up 1 run, had 7 strikeouts. He's displayed 6 different pitches this spring. He's got that sick fastball. He's really dialed in on the curveball. A lot of improvement there. Had some nice swings and misses with the curve today. A very gnarly splitter that's difficult to hit. Has mixed in a cutter and a slider. I think a changeup. But Yoshinobu Yamamoto has a nice arsenal of different pitches that he can throw at you, which is why I think it makes it very difficult to predict what Yamamoto is going to throw and why it's difficult to have much success against Yoshinobu Yamamoto, because every at-bat you get against him, he can come at you with a different rotation of pitches. And he's got nasty spin. The stuff grades out to pretty good as well. Yamamoto is the real deal. I imagine he's going to be an all-star this season. Everything that Yamamoto has shown us thus far in spring, and of course, throughout his just Dodgers career, which is still very young, he's lived up to the hype and more. He's already been worth it with his first year performance. So excited for Yoshinobu Yamamoto. It's gonna be a fun season getting to watch him. The 3-headed dragon with Yamamoto, Sasaki, and Ohtani when he eventually comes back, whenever that is. It's gonna be a spectacle. So very excited for all that. Tyler Glasnow has been a standout as well. Love what Tyler Glasnow has been showcasing for the Dodgers this spring training. Tyler Glasnow has gone 6 innings, 10 strikeouts. He throws 4 different pitches right now, all graded out to super elite. You could argue he may throw the best curveball in baseball right now from a starting pitcher. It's so difficult to hit. I think if I'm remembering it correctly, last season opponents hit under 100 against Tyler Glasnow's curveball last year. On top of that, Tyler Glasnow is just a strikeout machine and generates a ton of whiffs. So we should be very excited for Tyler Glasnow. The talent is not in question. What's in question is the Dodgers' ability to keep him healthy, manage his innings at the right time, and set him up for success so that he can be a major contributor for the Dodgers in October. Because you want a guy with Glasnow stuff pitching in the postseason, guys that generate a ton of whiffs. That's what plays. That's what drives success in October. That's what we saw with Yamamoto and Jack Flaherty firsthand last postseason in the games where they really thrived and dominated. It was because they were generating a ton of swings and misses. And Tyler Glasnow, with his ability and his skill set, he brings that to the table. So of course we're excited for what Tyler Glasnow is going to bring for the Dodgers. I love these questions that are coming in. Keep dropping the questions and hit that like button if you haven't yet. Benjamin Susan. We're going to get to this. Dustin May, is he the number 5? Or is it Tony Gonsolin? Or is it Bobby Miller? In an interview today with Dodgers Territory, Dave Roberts revealed who the Dodgers' number 5 starter was. And I don't know if it really went the way we were hoping. It was kind of more like a last man standing direction. Tony Gonsolin's not going to be healthy to start the season, unfortunately. He hurt his back lifting weights. This seems to be a recurring theme for Tony Gonsolin, where he heads into a season not healthy. And this time it's because he hurt his back lifting weights. So he might start the season on the IL. Bobby Miller, it would be unfair to expect him to start for the Dodgers at this point because, to be quite frank, he hasn't pitched at all for the Dodgers this spring training. Rightfully so. He got hit in the head by a 106-mile-per-hour line drive by Michael Busch. So we got to ease him back in. So I don't really like it from a longevity standpoint. It makes me a little nervous, actually. I would love for the Dodgers to really milk it in the month of March and really milk it a little bit in April as well. Dustin May pitching in March scares me that he might not last again till May, because the track record speaks for itself. A guy like Dustin May has never once stayed healthy in his career. And it's one of those fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. If I'm expecting Dustin May to last the full season as a starting pitcher, I think we're just setting ourselves up for disappointment. But maybe this is the year where Dustin May finds a way to stay healthy. Like people are pointing out in the chat, Dustin May does have some of the best pure stuff. That curveball he throws is also very nasty as well. Has excellent spin rate on it. I would like to see what Dustin May's strikeout stuff looks like, how it's going to play for a long season. One of the things with Dustin May is he's never been a big strikeout guy. And with the velocity dropping a little bit, I feel like he's going to have to be a little bit more dependent on his spin rate now. But it's good for Dustin May, obviously, to be healthy, head into the season. And just a common theme for the Dodgers, the injuries. They stockpile quickly. 1 minute, they've got incredible depth. The next minute, the Dodgers have a bunch of guys on the injured list. And so Tony Gonsolin appears to be another casualty. But I don't mind it. as long as Tony Gonsolin's back at some point in April or even May, I can live with it because facts are that March and April aren't really a big deal. Just hover around 500 and then make your run after. Dodgers are pretty good at doing that. Dropping the link to join our Discord channel. If you haven't joined our Dodgers Discord channel and you want to talk with other awesome Incline listeners and Dodgers fans, great opportunity. Moving over to Blake Snell, because Blake Snell also recently pitched as well. Just wanted to quickly kind of gloss over that. I love seeing Snell already throwing 96 miles per hour in spring training. That's a sight to be seen. I love hard throwing lefties. I love that Blake Snell just brings it in spring training. And yeah, he's getting touched up a little bit, but I feel like Blake Snell is one of those pitchers where he's just working on some things right now. And that's what spring training is all about. Just work on some of your tools and you get it right for when the season actually starts. So Blake Snell throwing 96. That's what sticks out to me. So I don't think I fully got to it yet. Roki Sasaki's going to pitch for the Dodgers Tuesday. Here we go. So the Dodgers basically announced it's going to be Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow starting the 2 exhibition games in Japan for the Dodgers. I don't know how I feel about starting two of your big cats in meaningless games. I would have preferred we just gave the fans some scrubs, but that naturally sets it up for Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who earned the nod. He's going to start game one of 162 in Tokyo for the Dodgers. You also got Roki Sasaki presumed to make that game 2 start, especially how he looked against the Reds. Everything suggests that Roki Sasaki's got it, and he'll be fired up to pitch against the Cubs. So I think that's how things line up right now. Dave Roberts also hinted that Blake Snell is in line to start the domestic opening day against the Detroit Tigers, and rightfully so as well. So it will be Blake Snell against Tarek Skubal, two of the best lefties in the sport. Should be a pitcher's duel. That'll be a fun one. Curious what Blake Snell's strikeout total will be in that game. But excited for that matchup. Should be a pretty good pitcher's battle. We've got Brandon McCarthy mentioned in this chat, a name I don't ever want to think about. Brandon McCarthy was pretty horrendous with the Dodgers. Aaron Natick in the house. What's up, Aaron Natick? Question coming from Crash. Do you think the Yankees are going to trade for an arm? And maybe he's asking, do you think the Dodgers will trade an arm to the Yankees? I actually reached out to a Yankees reporter. He speculated if the Dodgers could have moved anyone, it would have been Tony Gonsolin and Dustin May, but he doesn't think that's really on the table right now. And I don't think so either with the Dodgers injuries and all that. They kind of need the depth now with the way things are kind of shifting as of late. Yeah, but Garrett Cole underwent Tommy John surgery. Garrett Cole is 34 and a half. Most likely he'll be out, of course, all of 2025. He'll probably miss half of 2026. By the time Garrett Cole is back, he'll be 36. It's a huge blow for the Yankees. And with Giancarlo Stanton also potentially undergoing a season-ending elbow surgery too, that's yet to be official. And Luis Gil undergoing some type of shoulder surgery, or he's held out because of the shoulder through more than halfway through the season. The Yankees are floundering right now, and they're going to have to make some moves because I don't think they want to count on Marcus Stroman in the year 2025. The Yankees are in trouble, but that's not to say that the other teams in the division aren't in trouble, because Grayson Rodriguez is another arm that might be out for the season. He's a big pitcher for the Baltimore Orioles, and the Orioles lost Corbin Burns to the Arizona Diamondbacks. So the O's pitching is looking a little bit thin. Right now, the Boston Red Sox look pretty good on paper. I love Garrett Crochet. We've talked about him a lot. I think Garrett Crochet will continue to have a great year. This time for Boston, he'll get to be a part of a winning team, I imagine. And Walker Buehler has actually been pretty sharp early this spring for the Red Sox. He's 2-0, just 2 starts, but 5 innings, 7 strikeouts, a 1 whip. Oh, and by the way, a 1.80 ERA. So it would not surprise me. Walker Buehler is the type of pitcher I would bet on to have a bounce back season. Now that he's a full season removed from his comeback year, I think he's going to be much more comfortable. We'll go more in depth on all those teams when we do our preview show for the 2025 season. But yeah, Red Sox stock up, Yankees stock down. They appear to be in trouble. Scrolling through the chat. Aaron Attic wants to know, is anybody going to the ring ceremony game? I don't think I will be because that game will be freaking expensive. So yeah, Gonsolin likely to the IL. They also mentioned that whoever the Dodgers' 5th starter would be is going to be held back in the States and getting ready, continuing to just get ready for the season. So Dustin May, it looks like, unfortunately, you don't get to join the team to Tokyo. Instead, you get to hang out in the great state of Arizona. I would be disappointed. I feel like going to Japan on the Dodgers wallet is the trip of a lifetime. But I feel like if anybody was comfortable just staying out in the desert, it's probably Dustin May. So maybe it's for the better. I don't picture Dustin May as a man of culture. And maybe I'm wrong. Just from what I see on Dustin May's Instagram, he feels like more of a nature who loves his hunting and fishing, wildlife guy. So maybe Dustin May just will enjoy his time in Arizona as he gets ready for this upcoming season. So with the Dodgers bullpen kind of starting to take shape, we've got Matt Sauer, who was told he'll be on the Dodgers taxi squad. With Matt Sauer being on the taxi squad, you're sporting a guy who has an 8.22 ERA. Hopefully he's just on the taxi squad and not on the actual roster. But the guys that I imagine make the Dodgers bullpen in pitch and probably some piggyback role as well. Anthony Bonda, Ben Kasparius, Landon Knack, Tanner Scott. So that's 4. Blake Trinan, Alex Vesia, Kirby Yates, and Justin Robleski. Those are the 8 I'm rolling out there. I don't think I'm missing anyone. Kopech's hurt. Phillips hurt, but appears to be progressing well. Brusdar Graterol's hurt. Edgardo Henriquez is hurt. So we kind of have these guys. And I think the Dodgers are going to be very cautious. Very tight pitch counts on all the starters. Yamamoto goes 4 or 5 innings. Probably doesn't go more than 80 pitches. Sasaki, same story. 4 innings, 5 innings. Probably doesn't go more than 80 pitches. Dodgers bring in the piggyback guys. Robleski is a guy that can be a left-handed arm. They might want the left-handed long man. Cubs got some pretty good lefties in their lineup with like a guy like Kyle Tucker. You want to get him out. And Robleski, like, you can't ignore the fact that he's just been kind of rising to the occasion this spring. Talked about him before, about someone I'm keeping my eye out on. He could log some meaningful innings for the Dodgers this upcoming season. He's a top prospect for a reason. Last season was, a rude awakening for him, but that comes with the territory. A lot of first-time call-ups or first-year players get bombed in their first year. Then they go into spring training. They work on what they have to improve, and they come out a much better pitcher in year 2. Robleski's 2-0, 2 starts, 4 games, 1.93 ERA, 9 strikeouts, 9.1 innings thrown. And I love this stat, 0.75 whip. So Robleski's been getting the job done. All right. Continue to get those questions in there. Crash, who's going to be the Dodgers opening day second baseman? It's Tommy Edman. I believe it will be Tommy Edman primarily playing second base for the Dodgers with some center field, of course. But we talked about that pretty deep. Pretty much covered everything I was anticipating talking about this evening. Yeah, keep dropping in those questions. Jack Dreyer, Taxi Squad. Definitely could see it. The Dodgers are very high on Jack Dreyer. Glad that Craig brought him up. He's been nasty this spring as well. 10 strikeouts over 6 innings thrown. They've used him in 6 games, has a .67 whip, 3 ERA. The guy is just looking awesome out there. And he's a relief pitcher. He can go multiple innings if needed, get you 4, 5 outs. He had a really good 2024. He was so good in Double A. They basically called him up to Triple A almost right away. He threw 15 scoreless innings, and they said, "You're going to Oklahoma City." And then in Oklahoma City, 2.95 ERA and 52 strikeouts across 43 innings thrown. So Jack Dreyer is someone that you're going to really want to keep your eye out on. Dodgers made sure not to let him be Rule 5 draft eligible. And it seems for very good reason, because Jack Dreyer is probably major league ready. He probably is. And I think the Dodgers are going to probably use him. We might have lost connection. Hold on. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I think I may have lost connection for a second, but show keeps on rolling. Apologies about those technical difficulties. But yeah, Jack Dreyer, big believer in him. Think he's going to have a pretty good season. If a guy like Bonda's struggling, Vesia is hurt, or Tanner Scott needs some time off, Dreyer naturally would be a great replacement option. And I think he's going to be a strikeout machine. Maybe 2025 is that learning curve for him, but by 2026, we might be talking about Jack Dreyer as one of the Dodgers' top high leverage arms. They continue to do an awesome job of resetting this bullpen, and I love it. I love what they're doing here. But yeah, I think we're almost out of topics here. So if anyone has any final questions, drop them below right now. Otherwise, we're gonna call it a night. I was battling the flu all weekend long, starting to feel a little bit more like myself, but it was a bumpy road, no doubt about it. My voice isn't completely there, still a bit nasally, as you could probably tell, but we're here to give it up. We're here to give it your all, or I should say, we're here to give it my all. We have a pretty deep preview episode coming. We're going to get you guys ready for the 2025 season. Can't wait. Dodgers baseball is just around the corner. So it should be a very fun and memorable season ahead. Appreciate everyone for tuning in and listening. If you haven't hit that like button yet, or if you haven't hit that subscribe button, if you're listening on the audio feed, goes a long way, means a lot. You guys enjoy the show. Make sure to tune in on the live feeds, get your live interaction. It's going to be a fun season. No doubt about it. It's going to be a fun season. What are the Dodgers' win expectations? Probably over 100 games. Do they break the all-time record? Don't know if I can go that far, but I do think the Dodgers are going to have a pretty historical season. So I think let's leave on a high note. It's going to save all the true bold predictions for when we actually start to preview the 2025 season and really get into it. But just for little teasers right now, I like the D-backs. I don't think the Padres are as good as they were. I'm not going to buy the Giants or the Rockies as threats as well. Shohei Ohtani, he should be the favorite to win the MVP. I would not waste my money on Juan Soto. I think Juan Soto's best chance was to win when he was a New York Yankee. And as long as Shohei Ohtani continues to pitch and hit, or he's going to hit 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases, Ohtani's going to win the MVP every year. But yeah, yep, Giants suck. That's right, BC. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Have a great week ahead. Spring training is almost over. There's just a couple games left. Go Dodgers. Have a great week, everyone. World Series champs.